just use the Chromecast. Well, download it in a minute or something. I'm in the middle. I can't really right now, so I'm in the middle.
Pain.
Guys, I don't want people using the TV for that. I want them to use the Chromecast for that.
I'll be damned. Instead, he's looking like a model right now. Look at your hair. Just look good. Stan.
What are you doing?
What?
Stan with the green screen behind him.
I know dude. I still need it. I still need to make that, dude. I really do.
Like in the studio.
I know, and I got like the microphone. Like if when we put both of our shit together.
I'm only seeing one camera at a time. What if I want to see both cameras? How do I do that?
I'm not 100%
It
sure.
was doing that before.
Well, make it. Oh shit! Now I'm full screen. Okay, so can we split it? I don't think we can split it. I feel like we did last time.
Well, Stan was. I mean, I didn't need it because Stan's usually on the stream.
Okay.
Look, it's Streamception in a video window.
Oh no. Let's see here.
Oh, see, Stan's got it. He's got both windows.
How do you do that?
Because I'm awesome. That's how I do it. Do you guys really want to know how I control the camera? Let me turn on this music.
Yeah.
And before I tell you guys, well, it's real simple. Like you click on the picture, double click on the picture that you want to go full screen,
I got it.
and then double click on it again, and it goes back to split.
I'm already ahead of you. See, look, you can see. I'm showing my screen.
That's what's up. So we got another guest.
Double click on it. You just double click on it.
Yes, guest?
Yeah.
She's just the model. She's the podcast model. I need my juice.
Tech, where's your cam?
Tech.
I didn't say hi to you in Discord? Really?
There, you can watch my blank window.
No.
There we go.
Oh,
Look, I'm scruffy.
I got to watch myself fucking choke on that. It's so fucking dry.
Bring it to me.
Oh, I'm sorry, friendly. I didn't know you were in there. And your ass just left. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were in there.
No, you take a dry hit of a vape, it just tastes like burnt cotton. It's fucking terrible.
Hi, friendly.
Oh, it was so fucking
Oh, your
bad.
computer's freaking out by all these cameras, maybe? Oh, you left the call. Okay. Well, you can join back in if you want to.
Computer's freaking out. No.
Yeah, our computer's freaking out. Discord is freaking out.
Discord's freaking out.
Yeah.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast.
No.
And boy, do we have a show for you guys. Let's meet our panel, of course. I'm Stando, your host. And don't forget that you can catch this podcast over at YouTube, over at OccasionalDIlemma.com after it initially airs. But to see it live, head over to twitch.tv/Stando, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and get all that gaming news. Welcome back, Friendly.
Sunday.
Hey.
Hey, it's working. Hey. So, Friendly, you want to hang out for a podcast?
I mean, I'm here already.
Got a couple guests. Look at this.
Get on camera.
No.
And so we also got.
Why are you showing us THC gummies?
No, that's Jolly Ranchers.
Oh.
But over here getting excited.
No.
Tech is a Jolly Rancher. Absolutely.
I'm not excited.
Am I allowed to play my game?
See, Stan's got his Mellow Yellow. I got my Bud Light.
Mellow Yellow is
got his
very
Jolly
important.
Ranchers.
Very
He's got his
important.
Jolly Ranchers. I mean, we're just one big happy family doing opposite things.
So, yep, Tech, how you doing?
I am switching glasses. That's how I'm doing. To the less reflective glasses. I always forget to do this. To do the less reflective glasses.
You should grow out the beard, man.
We'll see. I've been thinking about it, but I don't know. Then I always end up shaving it.
No, you should never shave.
I haven't had a beard.
Just clean it up.
Since you were like a toddler.
Wow.
And I was like,
Do you even know how old I am?
You said 26.
Oh shit, you got a good memory.
And I am 46. So, yeah, since you were a toddler.
Old man.
When I was about like 21, I think. Yeah, I briefly sported a beard. You saw that one picture with a mustache. That was after I shaved the beard off. I stuck with the mustache.
You should grow the mustache. You should keep the mustache, dude.
So how you doing, Tech?
Well, now that I can see again and I'm using less reflective glasses,
Is that good?
I'm guessing that's good.
yeah, I mean, I'm all right.
And Bud Lit, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, you guys know how I'm doing.
I haven't seen Bud Lit a whole lot this week. Have you got any gaming in this week?
No, no, I have not. I've dealt with a lot of personal issues. So,
It happens.
attorneys and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll not get into that.
Yeah. I'm not a criminal. Don't take it the wrong way. It's not a criminal attorney.
That's what a criminal would say.
Pretty sure he's a criminal.
Exactly what a criminal would say.
I was just wanting to know if you had gotten any gaming in this week.
No, I have not. I still got to start my playthrough of Gears of War 2, and then Judgment, then 3. Dude, I got a lot to do before Gears of War 5 drops.
All right, and you can catch him on twitch.tv/itsbudlit. Speaking of Twitch streamers on this channel, Friendly, when are you going to start streaming again?
Probably January.
Probably January. Twitch.tv/friendly_Prussian. And
But I'm working 2 jobs, about 60 hours a week. Yeah, I ain't got time for that.
yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, but you can make Twitch your third job.
But
I already work for Stando. That's a 3rd job.
She does work for me. She's on the payroll, man. She is our website editor, if you didn't know, and our Discord editor. So
That's why it looks bad.
Oh,
it looks
stop it.
fine. It looks fine. But got any gaming in this week, Friendly? And amidst all that work?
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go. There's nothing
That's
wrong
about
with that.
it.
I've been playing Wordscapes on the go, so.
I've been playing solitaire on my phone when I don't have time. Oh,
Wow, you are an old
They added a
man.
new quote. I'm not a criminal. Don't take it the wrong way. It's not a criminal attorney. It's Bud Lit. That's what a criminal would say.
pretty
What
sure
a
he's
quote.
a criminal. Come on. Do I look like a criminal? I couldn't make it in jail. This pretty boy couldn't make it in jail.
Hey, you want me
Stop.
to
You make
answer
it very
that?
well in
That's why
jail.
you're working out and stuff. You're like showing off like, ooh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss
Oh, let me tell you.
Let
I'm
me
not
tell
eating
you.
ramen every day, okay?
I got a son that's doing that
What, eating ramen?
almost every
Dude,
day.
ramen fucks with your stomach after so long.
That's what my stepson does. He eats ramen pretty much every day.
Why do you think they have toilets in the cells?
I don't understand why they do that.
So that's where they make their ramen in, is in the toilets.
If they make their ramen in the toilets, that's pretty rough. I never want to go to jail.
I don't
Boy,
think-
guys.
So what you've been saying is you've been considering it. Now that I told you that, now you never.
Yeah, the ramen, dude. It's the ramen.
So before that, you were okay. You were like, yeah, I could handle jail.
Oh yeah. The ramen keeps me at bay.
Guys, we've got
It's
some.
not that Bubba wants to marry you or whatever. And make
Why is
you
it always a
bunk-
Bubba?
Who's Bubba?
Yeah, who's Bubba?
It's always a
Your,
Bubba.
Don't you know every
bunkmate.
family is
Your
got a Bubba?
bunkmate.
My bunkmate Bubba?
Your bunkmate, your
How do you
cellmate.
know it couldn't be a dude named Jose, or how do you know it couldn't be a dude named Jake?
It's always a
Clark?
guy named Bubba.
I mean, it
Hey,
Yeah, why's it
Bubba.
gotta be Bubba?
It's always Bubba. It's always Bubba.
It could be Jake
I mean,
Clark.
why else would somebody be
See, his
named
name is
Bubba?
Bubba, but you have to call him Daddy.
Okay, so here, I'll be honest with you. If I went to fucking prison,
All right,
this is how
change
it'd go,
scene.
right?
All right, changing scene so we don't see
no,
this.
right there. No. I just pull my pocket out. I'd be like, I give up. I give up. That's all I'm saying. I give up.
White flag.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. I give up. I don't belong here.
And now your camera's completely out of focus. There it comes. All right, guys, we got a lot to talk about today. First, we're going to jump in. This is the video game podcast, if you didn't know.
We're talking about what I would do in prison. So,
What you're gonna do in prison.
yeah, no,
this
I'm
is
never
a-
going to prison.
This is an interesting article. It comes by way of Polygon. Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony to require loot box odds disclosure. So if you haven't been following this loot box controversy since Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Paid to Win and the uproar that's been going on ever since, and gamers fighting back against loot boxes and governments getting involved. Like, did you know that it's illegal to have loot boxes in Belgium? Yeah, and we've had some U.S. Senators and stuff wanting to pass laws about loot boxes, but you know the hopes is that the game corporations will do it themselves. Of course, the ESA has been pretty passive on the whole situation.
Are these the same Congress members that want to say that video games cause violence?
I hope not. Yeah, I don't think so. But it's all, you know, it is protecting the kids, you know, from like spending too much money in FIFA, I guess. But the article here, let's get into it. Who's my author here? Charlie Hall. Okay, let's see what he's got to say. All three major console manufacturers, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, have agreed to require games with paid loot boxes to include the chances of winning randomized in-game items from them. The Entertainment Software Association announced this on Wednesday. Michael Warnack, the ESA's chief counsel of tech policy, made the announcement during a workshop on loot boxes hosted by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission. Quote, I am pleased to announce this morning that Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony have indicated to ESA and commitment to a new platform policies with respect to use of paid loot boxes in games that are developed for their platforms. Specifically, this would apply to new games and game updates that add loot box features, and it would require the disclosure of relatively rarity or probabilities of obtaining randomized virtual items in games that are available on their platforms. I think this is a good stepping stone, guys. They do this in China for every game. I think this is a good stepping stone, but I just don't think it's enough yet. like, I think that if you've got loot boxes in your games and you really don't want kids to access that, maybe you should have a mature rating. But that's me. We can dive into this one at a time. What do you guys think? And I'm going to start with Friendly because she wasn't here last week. So, Friendly?
I played the 5th. No, kidding. I think no matter, like, if they were to do that mature rating, parents would still buy the games for the kids. And they would still have access to the loot boxes no matter what.
But then it comes down to that the same conversation we were having last week about violence in video games. It is on the parents that we're putting the responsibility on the parent. Like, there's no denying that, like, it's your fault when you're spending this amount of money, or your kid's, erratic. Like, you're messing up your kid. And do you have other solutions on or other ideas on what we can do about loot boxes?
No, I've never really messed with loot boxes, so I really don't have an opinion on them.
So you've not engaged in the practice, okay? What about let's go to Bud.
That's good. She's not contributing.
So, if we're gonna go to me, Gears of War 4 was the first Gears of War that ever had loot boxes, microtransactions, and stuff like that. A solution to that problem: earn as you play. So you unlock it as you level up or whatever. In my opinion, you already pay for. Now games have season passes. Now you got to pay the $60 for the game plus like the $40-$60 for the season pass for all the DLC that's going to come out that they already have planned out. So you're paying $120 for a game. What else? What else can I add to that? I mean, I can get exclusive content, but unlocking like normal characters and stuff, I think that should be, play to earn. Play the game more, you earn more characters, etc., skins.
One of the problems that
I used to do
it. One of the problems that we have with the play to earn model is we've seen this a lot in some games recently. Is that they put unnecessary grinds in. Like if you play one of these games of service games like Destiny or you know what I'm talking about, The Division or whatever.
Yeah.
It's rare drops, and then they add this insane amount of grind that, you calculate it up and it takes like 3,000 hours. Like it'll take you 10 years to get something. Yeah. Or you can pay for it to try to get your.
I believe that's where the communities, as a gaming community, if you're a big fan of that game, should stand together, tell the devs, Twitter nowadays or whatever people use, because I don't use that, but you can tweet them, and if you have enough people that tweet them, be like, okay, this is unrealistic. Let's be more realistic here. If I play the game for 50 hours, grind this out. Can I please unlock this character? Like. I mean, dude, there's a solution, but they would rather make more money. I mean, I get where they're coming from.
But there's more honest ways to make money.
Exactly.
All right, Tech, what's your idea?
To get rid of them?
To get rid of them, that's a start.
To do away with them, but consumers can just stop paying for them and putting money in them, and it's like they're not making any money doing it. But the thing is you can't control all other consumers.
Well, this is
who use it,
right? And this is addictive. I mean, it's an addictive behavior.
Some people may not want to, but they're
just drinking a White Claw.
I mean,
give me that super awesome
exactly. Casinos work in the same fashion. You're trading in real money for a token or another currency. So you're buying another currency to take around. You got the flashing lights, the randomization of it all, the small wins. The difference is with casinos and stuff, you can cash out, of course. and games. Some games that they found ways around, and they're circumventing the system where they can cash out their items or sell their items. But for the most part, you can't cash out in a video game. So, plus, in reality,
you can't cash it back out.
These virtual items have no value whatsoever other than the person buying them. So that video games have figured out a way to really, really do it. For me, did everything freeze? Did you freeze? Oh, there we go. I got you. Whew, I thought Discord froze on me for a minute because your face got super still, Tech. It was like
that's just how Tech looks, though. I mean, he just gets stone faced and then he gets stuck.
Right. But for me, I think I've always said I think that it's time for video games to charge more. Maybe $70 to $80 per game, depending on the length. Some games could go at a less of a premium, depending on, for example, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice sold at $30 on launch day. That was good for that game because it's not very long. Maybe the Order 1866 could have done that. $60 is pretty much the standard, and it has been for a long time. But with inflation, I think that it's time. The rising game costs, it's time to charge more for games, and I've always said that. The problem is that the game companies are making more money off of digital microtransactions than they would if they actually raise the prices. Because you have companies like 2K where microtransactions make up 60 to 70% of their entire income for the year. On top of selling games like big blockbuster games like Red Dead Redemption 2, that falls in the other 40%. So they're making hand over fist their money in microtransactions. So if microtransactions are here to stay, I don't like the loot box system. I prefer
Okay, all right. Well, okay. So here's how the loot box system could work as well, because Gears of War 4 also does this. I know I hate to use this, but you earn tokens as you play, right? So like in your stream, you earn tokens as you watch. So as you play every match, you earn an X amount of tokens, and then you can use those to loot boxes as well.
Right. But what I
believe that's a fair way to go about it.
It is. The slippery slope is when you get into pay to win mechanics, and I think that's where a lot of gamers get pissed off. Also, extended grinds for items. People get pissed off about that. I don't think microtransactions belong at all in a single player game, but that's just myself. But if we're going to do microtransactions, I say we keep it cosmetic. We get away with the randomization of it and just do it outright. If you're going to do randomization, disclose that the odds. And I think that the rating for these games should be M, because yes, parents are still going to buy these games for their kids, but it's going to lower the amount of parents who are willing to buy these games for their kids. And that'll help a lot. So they're not getting into the hands and making addicts out of, because kids, they're not able to make, well-informed decisions until they're 20, in their 20s. So,
Until they're 27.
Yeah,
I still don't even make well-informed decisions.
But you know what I'm saying? They're so
kidding.
They're prone to making rash, spontaneous decisions.
And kids can rack up their parents' credit cards really fast.
It's really, really fast. So I think that they should, if we get them out of that, if we make it 17 plus, at least we're not, encouraging the behavior and indoctrinating that behavior early. And like I said, they should put everything on the box. All of the, not just this game has in-game purchases. What kind of in-game purchases? This game has loot boxes or randomized item drops, cosmetic. This game also has DLC, because at some point, what was it? We were making fun of the Division 2 that sold with a season, like 7 or 8 different special editions. They're all costing different amounts. 2 or 3 like season passes. on top of DLC, on top of cosmetic transact, on top of randomized loot. I mean, it's crazy the amount of money that you can spend in a game like the Division.
Oh, yeah.
So, but anyway, so any last words on loot boxes before we move on, guys?
Loot boxes suck, and they should do away with them.
I
agree
concur.
with that. I concur.
Everybody who concurs, say aye.
I
Friendly, last word on loot boxes.
think I'm gonna have to get my own.
I never used them, but they suck. Okay.
That was
I'm gonna have
terrible.
to get my
Friendly
own food, so I'll be
impersonation.
right back.
Viragisaur, stop it. No loot boxes. No more.
You got to get your own food, Tech. Oh, he's already gone. He's gone. Speaking of
It's
food,
only the guys with the racing chairs left.
right? What are you gonna do for dinner?
I already ate.
Friendly, what are you cooking for dinner? Is Friendly here? I don't even know if Friendly's
I
here.
don't think so. But, okay, I had, what do we have? Ribeyes.
Ribeye sounds good. That sounds
Oh, yeah.
really good.
Ribeyes and pasta salad.
I
That's how you
had
build. That's how you build biceps, right there. Pasta salad.
yeah, I had hot dogs. I had slaw dogs, actually. Hot
Oh, that
dogs,
sounds
chili,
it.
slaw.
I think that's what we call coney dogs up here
Okay.
with the coleslaw on them.
Yeah.
Coleslaw and hot dogs is a coney dog, right?
It's
She
a gross
thinks so.
dog.
It's a gross
Hey.
dog.
Hey, was it all beef?
Yeah. I don't know.
See?
It's a hot dog. What did you
I
have
don't
for
know,
dinner,
it's a
Friendly?
hot dog.
I had a broth burger.
There you go.
No, she had ramen.
Ramen.
That's all.
You're gonna give me fucking. You got me on this ramen kick.
How much ramen did you eat in your
In my childhood,
in your childhood? We'll say that.
I grew up kind of poor, so probably more than I probably should have. Probably like three meals a week, like, and sometimes a snack. It depends. That's why I used to be fat. I blame the ramen.
I'm ready
But
for
now
my
look at
next
all
story.
these-
I've been waiting on Tech to come back, but I guess we can go ahead and
I'm kind of excited for this next one, dude.
do you know what's next? Ray Ping Minoras, thank you so much for the follow.
Are we talking about the graphics?
The what?
The graphics?
The graphics for what?
Are we just not
The
gonna
industry.
talk about that name?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. I figured we would start off on
Epic
talking about
Games.
Anthem.
Okay. I did a little bit of research.
I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back.
But
I'm
for the
gonna
most
stay
part,
off camera why I eat though.
no, I want to see you eat, Bubba.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I've eaten on stream before, but usually I like
Yeah, no.
hide my mouth.
Yeah.
All right, here we go,
I
guys.
always find it weird. I'll only drink on stream.
We're gonna talk about Anthem.
What's going on with Anthem?
Lead Anthem. This is coming via Games Radar by Austin Wood. Lead Anthem producer Ben Irving leaves BioWare. Earlier this year, executive producer Mark Dara, lead producer Michael Gamble, and lead director Jonathan Warner confirmed that they've left Anthem's development team. These are big spots within the company. Your executive producer, your lead producer, and your lead director have left earlier in the year from the Anthem development team. Today, lead producer Ben Irving, who helped fill in for Gamble, announced that he's leaving BioWare entirely to accept a position at another gaming company. He says, after 8 amazing years at BioWare, I've made the decision to move on and have accepted an exciting opportunity at another gaming company. He said on his Twitter, "Since the first time I played Baldur's Gate many, many years ago, BioWare was the dream place I always wanted to work. I will forever be grateful to all the people who gave me the chance to work on great products with an amazing people. I believe Anthem has a bright future." There is a great team working on it, and I look forward to following its progress and playing it from the sidelines. I have really enjoyed interacting with the Anthem community. Yeah, I'm sure you have. Streams, Twitter, and Reddit. Though the good times and the tough times, you all are in great hands with EA Global Lead Jesse Anderson and EA BioWare Global Community Leader Andrew Johnson. I wish nothing but the best for all of you. Irvin's departure comes at a decisive moment for Anthem after a rough launch, to say the least, and an even rougher follow-up. Plagued by delays and repeated setbacks, the most recent Anthem patch notes outlined the long-awaited Cataclysm, not to mention a suite of Javelin upgrades. It's not without issue, and the Cataclysm itself is a bit underwhelming, but the most recent update has been met with fairly positive reception, in part thanks to Grandmaster difficulty nerfs and more plentiful high-end loot. Anthem isn't dead in the water, and a single departure won't change that, but a disconcerting pattern is starting to emerge among the game's higher ups, with its roadmap pushed back to Lord knows when, and its leadership steadily moving on to greener pastures. BioWare and EA could stand to discuss Anthem's immediate and long-term future. So my thing here is that Anthem has this stigma and this problem because going all the way back to launch, Anthem's had problems, and all these people are bailing. Is this the end of BioWare as we know it? Well, to be fair, BioWare's really not been the BioWare we've known it as since Mass Effect 3, but this shows a little distrust in the product, and should players be concerned? Bud Lit, you go first.
I don't know what.
All right, if you're not familiar with BioWare, BioWare did the Star Wars MMO, Knights of the Old Republic. BioWare did Dragon's Age Origins, Dragon's Age 2, Dragon's Age Inquisition. They also did Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and Andromeda. They have worked on Anthem was their latest project, and is their first try at a games as service. And this is what EA is really good at. They buy up all these studios and companies and then make them, instead of letting them create games that they're good at, they change and make them do something that they're not good at in order to bring in more income for the company, if that makes sense. So that's what I was saying. Are you familiar with any of the Dragon's Age Mass Effect games? All right. How about from a you've heard of Anthem though, right? Like, you've heard of it?
No, I haven't even.
Okay, it's much like Destiny or like Division, but not as it's not been
it's more blatant, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And you're talking about a single player focused developer jumping into this huge multiplayer games as service thing. You don't have an opinion on it one way or the other, do you?
I just don't know enough about it to
got you. Is he even a gamer? Flipper Dude says.
No. I'm just a spokesperson for Anheuser-Busch.
All right.
I don't know a lot about like Dragon Age myself. I do remember.
See, but here's the thing,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead, bud. Finish your thought before we move on.
No. It's not even a thought. I mean, I'm just explaining myself to. I'm more of. I mean, I play games as they come out. Like if I hear rave reviews for a game. or if it's a game that really spikes my interest, I will play them. But I mean, I don't really buy a lot of games and then just play them, like just to get the achievements or whatever.
Right.
So the games I usually stick with are Gears of War franchise, big time. I dipped my toes in Call of Duty when World at War came out. I liked that game. But for the most part, I mean, I stick to, The Witcher, Rocket League, Gears of War,
All right. Let's put it this way.
On like the tech side, like I'm more into like technology, new processors, new graphics cards, such,
Let's put it this way and get your perspective from this. Let's say CD Projekt Red, the people who made The Witcher 3. We know what they're good at. They make single-player RPG games where your choices and decisions throughout the gameplay impacts the overall game. That's what they're good at, is storytelling. Now, let's say that EA owns CD Projekt Red. And EA saw the success of Witcher 3 and wanted to turn it into Destiny. They wanted to make as much loot boxes. They wanted content drops every so often that are paid for. Just a base game that you rush out the door and that you add on to it as you go for a few years to go. To come via content drops that people are paying for to make more money into the product. Now, let's say that they put out the base game and it didn't go so well, and all the content drops weren't going so well either. So all the big creators that originally created Witcher 3 started leaving. They started leaving this company and wanted nothing else to do for it because they didn't like the way EA was handling it. That was what I was trying to get your perspective on.
I've definitely experienced this. I can't remember what game off the top of my head, but I've definitely heard of this happening before, especially if Microsoft buys a company as well. You can't force somebody to make a game that they don't want to make. Like if they don't have experience in it, that's like having Call of Duty people make a Witcher game, like an RPG. Like it just wouldn't work. Like they wouldn't be familiar with that kind of territory. Just let the people that make RPGs stick to making RPGs, and multiplayer guys stick to multiplayer, or hire more people. I mean, it's a pretty simple solution in my opinion.
Well, one of the things is like I said, EA has been acquiring developer after developer after developer. We saw this with what was that one company, Tech, that was supposed to make the Star Wars game with. It was a real weird situation. EA has done this several times. It was Visceral Games. Visceral Games was known for
Star Wars 13 or whatever it was called.
It wasn't going to be 1313. It was something else. But yeah, they took over that project and were reworking it. So here's what happened, right? EA buys Visceral Games. Visceral Games makes Dead Space. Dead Space was a big hit, so EA's like, we want Dead Space, and they buy Visceral Games. Well, after Dead Space 2 comes out, it's a big hit, but not as big as the year before. Dead Space 3, the same thing. They're working in these microtransactions and stuff. So the game's not selling as well as Dead Space 1 is. So they decide to move Visceral Games onto working on Battlefield Hardline. Not a single-player third-person action game, but a first-person multiplayer-focused game, Battlefield Hardline. And then after
that was one of the worst ones.
It was one of the worst ones.
It was just a reskin of 4.
And then
instead of like war.
Right. And then after Hardline failed to connect with audiences, they were bringing in Amy Hennig. If you don't know who Amy Hennig is, she was the lead director on the Uncharted franchise. Now you're bringing in an action platformer, director, storyteller in, and I don't know what they thought, but this is about the time they said single player games are dead. They closed the studio. you know what I'm saying? Like, so Visceral Games is no longer around. I'm afraid for BioWare. You know what I'm saying? very afraid for BioWare. What do you think, Tech?
I mean, yeah, it's that kind of stuff happens. Like some big corporation comes in, then they, instead of letting the people do what they're good at doing, they want them to just like, okay, well, this is what you're good at doing, but this is what we do as a corporation. This is what makes us money. So switch from what you do that makes you good. That could make us money because you do it so good, it would make us more money. But no, we're going to change things around. We're going to incorporate all this, take all the soul out of it. And, you know, and just kind of like,
why is it on my screen? Why is it on my screen?
Oh, because my camera isn't on right now.
Oh, that better not be my screen.
I'm almost done eating though. But yeah, it's
Go ahead, Tech.
I was chewing, sorry. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's happened like with other companies, not even like in game related companies. It's just the corporate mindset. It's like the bottom line is all they care about. So like, oh, this kind of stuff's making us money. These people make all kinds of money doing something completely different. But let's bring them in to do this so that they can make us more money doing this, even though they don't know anything about doing this. And
right.
Oh, you failed. So guess what? We're shutting you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's a pattern of behavior that has became synonymous with EA for sure. It is just one of those things that you've seen it so much, you know, BioWare's time is coming up. You know what I mean? It's
right.
It's almost the end for them because you've seen it with other companies like Maxis or like Visceral Games or any of the numerous other ones that worked on different projects in the past, and there are quite a bit. There's an entire list I probably could look up, and you guys would be like, man, those studios are gone. Yeah, those studios are gone because EA bought them up, and then their next game didn't turn out, so they put them on a project they weren't good at doing, and that game flopped, and so they closed the studio. It's just their it's patternized behavior on the publisher's behalf, and the publisher sticking their nose in develop. Like, I understand you got to please your shareholders, but don't buy up studios and dismantle those studios or put those studios on projects that they're not comfortable making or they're not good at making. Let those studios continue to play to their strengths. Like Respawn Entertainment, I worry about Respawn Entertainment. It's a scary place. You know, they had that Titanfall game and Titanfall 2. Both didn't do very well, but, you know, they're playing to their strengths, doing the Call of Duty thing. That's where they came from. They were originally Call of Duty guys. And so they're making a first-person action online shooter, and now they're doing a single-player Star Wars game. Hopefully, they did Apex Legends. Hopefully, EA didn't have a whole lot of say in what Respawn's doing, because you kind of worry about Respawn's future as well. And I think with BioWare dropping the ball on Andromeda and the rocky launch with what's been going on with Anthem, from what I hear, the next Dragon Age is supposed to be a game of service game. And that scares me because it's always been a single-player RPG game. So, hopefully.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tech. Final thoughts?
Oh yeah, I actually did have one other thing to say on that. Now there might be cases where a developer might not want to be pigeonholed into a certain type of game. Maybe they might want to branch into another game genre, whether it be first, third person, you know, multiplayer, single player, but it should happen naturally and not be corporately forced.
Right. You know, it's kind of like
to making money.
Guerrilla Games, very well known for making the Killzone series, the Killzone franchise, Killzone 1, 2, 3, and what was Shadowfall or whatever, making Horizon Zero Dawn. We want to make something different. We want to make something completely different, and then, you know, making a third-person action adventure RPG. Yeah, that was crazy.
But again, just like have it happen naturally, not being forced.
Right.
Like maybe something where they've been kind of working on some experimenting, kind of getting the feel of it. So they're not like unpreparedly like, oh, hey, we're pulling the wool out from under you and you're just jumping into a whole different type of project without any preparation. Yep. That's it.
Here we go. Another story. I don't know where Bud went, so we'll just continue on right here.
Bud, are you there? Yeah, I guess he's
AFK. Yeah. Epic Games faces class action lawsuit over a Fortnite data breach. This is from a Game Industry Biz. U.S. law firm says Fortnite users have no guarantee security measures will adequately protect their personal information. Class action lawsuit is forming against Epic Games following a breach that exposed the personal data of Fortnite players at the end of last year. U.S. law firm Franklin D. Azar and Associates is calling for users who believe they have been affected to join the suit, promising to fight to get you the recovery you deserve. The suit follows news earlier this year that Epic had fixed a vulnerability in its security that may have allowed hackers to access Fortnite's user accounts, including personal information, credit, or debit cards linked to the game. FDA's notes that this acknowledgement and fix came 2 months after the security breach was first reported to Epic Games, and as such, players have a right to compensation. Quote, affected Fortnite users have suffered an ascertainable loss in that they have fraudulent charges made to their credit or debit cards and must undertake additional security measures, some at their own expense, to minimize the risk of future data breaches, including canceling credit cards association with their Epic Games /Fortnite accounts and changing passwords for those accounts, the firm writes. Furthermore, Fortnite users have no guarantee that the above security measures will in fact adequately protect their personal information. Fortnite users therefore have an ongoing interest in ensuring that their personal information is protected from past and future cybersecurity threats. According to Polygon, the law firm says it already has more than 100 class members attached to the suit. This unfortunately, this is the day and age of digital media, and I think it's going to happen no matter what. Epic Games is going to be the only one. Sony has had problems. Microsoft has had problems. I'm sure Netflix, Hulu, whoever will eventually have security problems.
Right. I mean, like how they were saying, like Fortnite players shouldn't have any expectation. I think anybody on the internet in today's day and age shouldn't have any expectation of security. I mean, especially here in the United States, where at least half of people in the country were affected by the Equifax breach.
Right.
You know, like if you at this point in the life of the internet, of the public internet, if you haven't been in, like, if your information hasn't been part of some breach somewhere at some point now, you are like in an ever decreasing percentage. I do think it
should be on the company though, to make things right, to notify, definitely notify the user promptly and pay whatever fraudulent charges, because you know I think these companies like Epic Games should have their own security measures in place. Like, they should be the one, oh, you had X amount of fraudulent charges, let me pay to fix that for you. You know, have the best customer support on coming out of their insurance staff or whatever that they decide to use to make sure that the customer is reimbursed it, and that, you know, they take measures to get them a new card or a new account or whatever it is that helps the customer get back to a secure state of mind. And I think that should be on the company, but that's just me. But other than that, I think we both agree that, you know, there's no way in the world that with all these online services that you're not going to run into this problem eventually. What do you think, Bud? I know you came back kind of
I came back in the middle of it, but as far as
know
me
what we're
reading
talking
this
about,
article,
right?
yeah. As far as me reading this article, it's going to happen. I mean, I feel like it happens a lot. I mean, especially with like retail stores. You know, I mean, it just happens. I mean, I get what you're saying that the company should be like held responsible, but at the same time, it's every time you buy something online, you risk your information. You know,
Right.
I mean, if Amazon, just imagine if like Amazon got breached, how many people would be affected from that? But you can't like put it on Amazon because I mean, they take all the necessary like security measures, you know, for secure transactions. So,
Well, you hope they do, but if they overlook something, I do put it on Amazon.
Yeah, but you gotta understand too. Hackers are, you know, as much security as you have, you know, hackers are always going to find a way around that. They've been doing that since the internet has been a thing.
I agree with you, but what I am also getting at is that like Amazon's made their billions. I mean, the guy that owns Amazon's the richest guy on the planet, right? I think that they can afford to pay whatever restitutions for whatever minor security problem they have to make sure it gets fixed and to make sure, because the customer's always right. And if you weren't secure enough to protect my information, that shouldn't be on me as a consumer. That should be on you as the service provider.
But
and that's where I'm saying that those service providers.
There's a point
there's a point. I mean, because you're always taking a risk by putting your card information on the internet. You know what I mean?
I agree.
You are.
But running a business on the internet, you're also taking a risk for your customers, and your customers do like have to trust you. But at the same time, like you might trust a bank, but somebody could still come in and rob that bank, and you know, but it's harder to rob a bank than it is to hack somebody on the internet.
Right.
Yeah, true.
So.
But I mean, hackers are always finding new technology to find a way around other things as well.
Right.
So I mean, it's always going to be an ongoing battle.
You got to stay up the opposite way. Like the hackers keep finding ways around, so you got to find new ways to block them. So it's like a back and forth, never-ending battle against good and evil.
Yep. I mean, that's what it's going to be. You're always going to have police, and you're always going to have criminals. I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, it's just the way it's going to be.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Moving on to our next topic here, we got these GTA 2K bosses. What's with that poor dog? He just wants in the room.
Don't mind my dog. Don't mind my dog. He just it's bedtime.
Just wants in the room. He just wants to be loved. Why don't you love me?
Right, I'll let him in. God.
I don't let the dog. I don't like to let. This room is an animal-free room because it's like we got so many freaking animals. It's like I gotta have a place with no freaking animals.
Look at the doggy. He's so pretty.
It's a pretty dog.
It's a pretty dog. Oh, he just wants some love. Look at that.
I know. It's all.
You know they don't use toilet paper though, right?
That's okay.
That's what they're famous for. That he just
I've read an article. That a dog's mouth is human. So
I have heard the same thing. Yes, that's.
I have heard the same thing, but I still don't want his crap licking thing on my face.
I don't think he used to eat his poop when he was a pup, but now that he's 1 year old, he stopped eating his poop.
But surprisingly, and maybe that's why they get away with wiping their butts with their tongues, is because they do have the cleanest mouth on earth. You know, I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's the cleanest mouth. It's cleaner than
Jack, are you supporting the fact that my dog licks his own butt?
It's what dogs do. I mean, then again, I don't support the really loud, gipey barking, and that's what they did too. So I don't know.
You better not yak.
All right, let's get back on track, guys. We got graphics will one day become indistinguishable from reality, says the GTA boss. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick. This comes from
her laptop died, Viragosaur.
GameSpot. Her laptop died. This is Eddie Makic from GameSpot. Speaking to CNBC financial analysis, Jim Cramer, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick talked about why he's excited about Microsoft Project Scarlet and Sony's new PlayStation, both of which are expected to release during holiday 2020. He said the increased horsepower of both next-gen consoles will give Take-Two's developers at Rockstar Games and 2K Games, among others, the ability to make better-looking games that are creatively improved as well. We have a new console generation coming, and that's going to allow us to do some things that we haven't been able to do before creatively, and that's exciting. Zelnick went on to say that he expects the graphics of video games to eventually one day become indistinguishable from real life if a developer chooses to pursue ultra-realistic visuals. He didn't specifically say that the new generation of consoles coming next year will allow for this level of realism, however. He says, excuse me, I am getting sick, so
bless you.
Just go with it. Quote, we're going to reach a point where you won't be able to tell the difference between what's created in the computer and what is really said. The executive said there is no top-down imperative for executives that all games from Take-Two have photorealistic visuals, pointing out that the Borderlands franchise that's published by 2K Games is known for its stylized graphics and that will continue going forward. He's talking more about sports games like NBA 2K series, however, and this is one of the company's franchises that would benefit from the increased power of new consoles to make the player models even more realistic looking. But this premise of taking certain titles like basketball and making it truly look live action, it's already pretty close now. Squint a little bit and it looks like live action. That's really exciting, Zelnick said. And that gives our creative folks a new canvas on which to paint.
I'm sorry. Verosaur just said, yeah, the strippers in GTA look fake as hell.
Well, what do you guys think of the realistic graphic thing? We'll go. You wanting to jump in on this?
It would be on PC before it would be on console.
Well,
we all know this.
Not necessarily, because it might for a niche audience. But I don't think it breaks mainstream until it's on console. Because
but
when it comes to game development, especially on game development that large, you always start on the lowest denominator and develop all the way around for that.
But
again, even if it's niche first, that's still PC.
That's true.
You realize you're going to be able to get better graphics out of a PC than you will a console any day, any time, especially in this day and age. So
I'm not denying that.
As it may be, look at the mods that they have for GTA 4.
I'm not denying that, but what I'm saying is you're getting to a point where you don't have to upgrade your PC as often because the games that are being created, even though you can crank them up to full specs or whatever you want to do, even as technology goes along, you're not using all that horsepower to run your games.
That would be an excellent thing, but devs and hardware manufacturers are probably like in it together. Like, I mean, you buy a processor, it's obsolete the next day. I mean, that's just the way technology moves, man. It just moves so fast.
But is it really? But what I'm saying is like Tech's still playing AAA games right now on his i5, and you know.
Yeah, but what i5? What generation i5? Coffee Lake, Sandy Bridge.
It's 45 something.
So yeah, we're saying it's not stopped completely, but it has slowed down dramatically over the past.
Oh, big time! Because my old
wouldn't do that on i3, that's for sure.
My old PC, I had an 8350, which was AMD. It was, I believe it was the Pile Driver series. Dude, that like came out years ago, but I mean, I could still kind of play like the games, but in order to like be able to stream and play at the same time, I knew I had to upgrade. I mean, if you just want to play, you really don't need a powerful PC to like handle the games. You know what I mean?
And especially with streaming, Stadia, the PlayStation Nows, the Xbox Game Pass, and streaming your games to your device or whatever, you really don't. Eventually, we're not going to need very hard. You're going to be able to do it from something like a Chromecast.
Which is going to be insane to me.
Hardware is going to be all at the server farms.
Right. But we're already doing it now with GeForce Now. You can use GeForce Now on the Chromecast, can't you?
Because now, like when you do that, when you like stream playing a game, like that's all of internet speeds, correct?
Right. But you can't Stadia. You can use Stadia on the Chromecast. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on the current, like the Chromecast I have, or if you'd need like a newer Chromecast. That I'm not 100% sure about. I guess I'll find out when it comes out. Now I can use GeForce Now through my Steam Link on my TV.
Right.
And it's like double streaming. I'm like streaming and then streaming. I'm streaming my desktop, which is then streaming like GeForce Now.
Right. So
there's a little bit more latency because of that.
You know, my dog's been asking me for a gaming PC. I don't know what's going to happen.
So, but I think we'll get there for games. I think the graphics will get there for games like sports games. The first time a shooter does it, like Call of Duty, you're going to have somebody jump down that. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's probably going to be a lot harder for a shooter than it is like a sports game, because a sports game, you know, the graphics are already pretty damn good. I mean,
right. Well, I'm not saying. My thing is if a shooter does, well, of course, shooters are going to struggle with it just because of gameplay mechanics. 60 frames per second is when a shooter feels best, right? So to get realistic graphics that move at 60 FPS, it's going to take a while to get there. But let's say we are there and we do get there. Would you do it? I mean, with as much shit as, you know, we politicians calling these murder simulations and things like that, would you actually do it? I don't think you would. I don't know. I don't know that a AAA developer would go through the scrutiny, but
it would probably be more sports games than it would be.
What do you think, Ted, on that front?
On which front?
On shooters looking realistic.
Yeah.
On graphics becoming more realistic over time.
For shooters, specifically.
For shooters, yeah. It'll get there eventually. It just depends on where they want to put the development in. If they want to put it into developing shooters and making them more realistic, they'll do it. If they would, but certain AAA developers like, you know, EA, especially with the sports games, that tends to be more their bread and butter. They're going to probably put the development and research of advancing the realism of the graphics into the sports games first. But as Bud said, they've kind of already done that a lot, so they only really have to incrementally increase it so much until, you know, to make it look more realistic.
Right.
And there's also the perception of realism, because I remember seeing some games on PS3 that I thought, like, oh man, that looks so real. But now you look at it, it's like, man, that looks so fake.
You know what?
But
Madden 09 looked real to me, you know, back then. And then you look at it now, it's like, what the heck?
The first Modern Warfare, I remember, man, this looks so photoreal, you know?
Grand Theft Auto Vice City to me was like groundbreaking, and then you look at like GTA 5, then I go back to playing Vice City, it's just like, what? How did I play this game? The wheels on the cars are like square.
But what I was getting at is, just because a shooter can look photorealistic, would the developers actually do it? With as much grief as they get with people calling these murder simulators and things like, in that regard, do you think developers would actually do it, or would they lean more towards that?
They've been saying that for years. Remember in Modern Warfare 2, they had the
they said it would Doom.
Yeah, it's like, it didn't stop them then. I don't think it'll stop them now. You know, it's always been the push for better and better graphics.
You don't think there's a line that goes too far, and you don't think the publishers
to where they'll stop trying to make it look so real?
Right.
No, as long as they keep making money, they'll keep doing it. And I mean, because they have it. I mean, it's as many times as it's like.
Look at how good games like
in the past.
PT look, or Resident Evil 7 in that first person's perspective with realistic like objects, like photorealistic objects in the house and shit. Like Yeah.
And that was on an underpowered console.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think that they'll stop because of that. It's just it's getting ready to be an election year. Politicians are just grasping at straws to find issues for their campaigns and stuff.
Right.
It's like, don't ever listen to the BS coming from the mouth of a politician about crap, because it's all about just getting reelected.
Yep.
Don't listen to none of their crap. Anyways, not to stray onto that topic. Yeah.
It's been kind of a slow week for video game news. Other than that, we do have another story if you guys want to talk about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. G2A accuses dev of slander. We've got G2A in the news again. Devs wanting to sue them over $3,000 demand for lost sales. And the G2A is firing back, saying that's just slander. Nothing really big there. Yeah, other than that, guys, there wasn't really a whole lot of gaming news this week. And, yeah. So do you guys have any final thoughts or any gaming topics that you guys want to talk about, just to throw out there? But Lit, is there a topic you want to talk about for gaming?
Gears 5, right around the corner, baby. It's going to be released. You guys should all give it a try, man. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Definitely worth it.
Oh, well, I say we take a break right here.
Well, we can try it on the
yep, you got the Game Pass, man. So we could do a playthrough of the campaign when it comes out.
Capcom is working on Resident Evil 8. PS4 controllers are getting new colors soon. Lol, that's all I got. PS4 controllers getting new colors.
I think they should remaster World at War. I mean, who's with me?
World at War, Call of Duty World at War?
Yeah, they should remaster that. That was probably the best Call of Duty.
I did like that it had co-op on the campaign, which they also did on Black Ops 3 as well.
Yeah, but I was out of Call of Duty at that time.
You like the red cam up controller?
I played Black Ops.
Call of Duty used to be for me what Gears of War is for you. I used to play almost nothing but Call of Duty all the time for years.
Well, that was until I got The Witcher, and then I started straying into RPGs, and I'm like, oh shit, these games are cool too. So I mean, it's so hard to juggle between, especially streaming, because I've worked on my viewer base to be Gears of War, so I have my Gears of War viewers, and then maybe a couple of them come over to watch Witcher, but I get more viewers playing Witcher than I do Gears of War, so it's like an ongoing battle. But I'm better at Gears of War than I am an RPG, so it's like.
All right.
I get that too. I used to run into the same problems.
These are the new video games coming out for the week of August 19th through the 25th. You have Rad coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Real Fishing coming out on PS4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Remnant from the Ashes coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Truck Racing Championship.
That's my favorite game.
Coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. We've got Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy on the Duelist Link Evolution coming out on the Nintendo Switch. Gris coming out on iOS. Life is Strange 2 Episode 4 coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC.
I'm gonna download that right now.
Are you really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Life is Strange fan, dude. I love that game, actually. I didn't know that was coming out.
Last but not least, Anunnaki RPG coming out on PS4, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So those are the games coming out the week of August 19th through the 25th and their current platforms. We're going to take a quick break right here, guys, and then jump into the Friends cast and let Bud run away with the show. I'll be right back, guys. Hang tight. I need a drink anyway.
I've been drinking.
He needs a drink after that. I need a drink.